5th, 2023. We have one public hearing. We will begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry, could you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Denise, could you take the roll, please? Pardon me?
Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Frank Santos. Jerry O'Neill. Dan Truchin. Ed Wynn.
Present.
Juan Leon.
Present.
Rich Grow. Greg Gaxiola. Matt Esposito. Rich Casey.
Okay, we have a quorum. Before we start the public hearing, let me read this statement into the record. The planning board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the planning board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void. Denise, our first public hearing.
Item A, public hearing, subdivision, change of zone. Job number 22-05BE. Janus Swiderick proposes to rezone a parcel from GA Industry to D Residence and subdivide a parcel from 13,500 square feet into two 6,750 square foot parcels in order to construct a two-story family dwelling on each newly created lot.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the record?
For the record, Joseph F. Bazell. The firm is Bazell, Blander, and Visconti. We are located at 535 Broad Hollow Road, Suite B4 in Melville. The application seeks a recommendation concerning what is actually an upzoning, industrial GA to residence D, and a subdivision. The property is located on the east side of Rutgers Road, 184 feet north of Sunrise Highway. It has 125 feet of frontage, 108 feet of depth, and an area of 13,500. It is industrial GA.
Mr. Bazell, the planning commissioner, Deputy Planning Commissioner Liz White issued a memo regarding this application on
I
the
have it.
30th. Have you reviewed it with your client?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any questions, any concerns, anything that you'd like to bring to the board's attention regarding the conditions and the covenants and restrictions?
I went over it with my client. My client consents to the conditions as well as the covenants.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
There is a pocket of industrial G, which is bordered by Sunrise to the south, the Carls River Corridor to the east. It runs north about 7.5 blocks from Sunrise, or 6.5 blocks from where we presently are now. All adjacent properties are zoned industrial GA. South of that is commercial property, EB, on the Sunrise Highway corridor. On the other side of Rutgers at the Sunrise intersection are two existing Residence D properties. So if you look at this particular block, there are only 5 single-family zoned properties on it out of the 13 properties. The rest are industrial, commercial, or Residence D. The lots within the sewer district, level and grade, no wetland or environmental sensitive properties. There is some mature trees, but the lot is generally cleared. This is a transition area from where the industrial to the north and to the east transitions into the single-family homes to the west. It is also a transition as one moves from the Sunrise Highway corridor north into the residential neighborhood. The property to the south does support a house, but it is industrially zoned. Residence D is generally considered a transition district, having two-family lots in and around the Sunrise corridor is common. There are 2 on this block alone. There are others near Sunrise on the south side. There are 2 family homes on the islip portion of Sunrise Highway as well. My client proposes 2 lots, 62.5 times 108, 6,750 square feet in area, which is 90% the requirement, 62.5 feet of frontage, 83% requirement. The house on the industrial lot to the south is a 50 by 80. We meet the setbacks, more side yard than required. We have 20 and 11.5, 21.5 and 10. The adjacent house on the GA industrial property gets the larger side yard of the 2. We meet the total side yard, we meet the rear yard, and we meet the front yard. To the rear of this property is public storage. The public storage wraps around this property and is the adjacent lot on the north side. I'm going to date myself and say I was the guy who did the public storage application in the late 90s. So don't make me feel no younger standing here today. But so we have the storage facility behind it and wrapping to the north side, industrial running up Rutgers, industrial property located to the south becoming commercial EB property, and then across the street we have 2 family homes. As I said, my client is read the conditions, and there is full acceptance to each of the conditions. He has also read the covenants, and there is full consent to the covenants. I'll note it's not the same house, so it will break up the appearance. It won't look like mirror images, and the homes will be finished differently. It is an upzone. We're going from GA to D, a positive development of this industrial property, and helps transition this block from the industrial corridor to the east and from Sunrise Highway to the south.
Mr. Bazell, in addition to the change of zone that you need from the town board, you mentioned what conforming side yard you have. What variances do you need?
We need lot area, we need frontage.
I'm sorry?
We need lot area and we need frontage.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? On the board? No. Jerry?
Mr. Bazell, the board knows that I have a pet peeve when industrial properties are adjacent to residential properties. And it's usually that we're asking the industrial developer to put a buffer to hide the building from the residents. I think, Matt, when you showed that picture before, the street scene, that public storage building looms pretty bright and large behind this site.
It does.
Okay. I was there. There's some scruffy trees, some old pine trees, and a few other things. What would you be willing to do to shield that in some way
I mean, the
for the
biggest thing
residents?
that will shield that view are 2 houses, because 2 houses will shield that view considerably.
No, I'm talking about the people who live in the houses. They have to look at this.
As to what?
I mean,
what
the
they
neighbors
look at?
across the street will be shielded by 2 houses being built, but the tenants that are going to be in these 2 two-family houses have to look out their backyard at public storage.
I mean, look, it's a judgment call. Obviously, whoever bought the house would be aware of that. If you put in a buffer, you are reducing their rear yard. It's only 30 feet to begin with. Would they rather have the space or the plantings is kind of a personal decision for a homeowner, in my opinion. You know, 30 feet's not a lot. If you had 60 feet of rear yard, it would be easier. But they're not, it's a constrained distance. There's no surprise public storage is there. It's not going up against somebody who had a house over there. Could they put some plantings over there? I mean, we could talk to planning about it.
You will?
We can, you know,
Would you?
yes.
Okay, thank you. What kind of fence is there a new fence planned for that?
There would be a new fence put up.
And how tall is that?
It's 6 feet.
How tall can they go, Matt? No 8-foot fences?
Babylon doesn't have a lot of high fencing. You know, it's generally 6 foot is the number. You know, 4 feet when you get towards the front, but
Right.
6 foot is common. An 8-foot fence, it would give you a little extra screening if you're on the ground. If you're on the second floor of the house, it's not
Nothing's
gonna
going to help there.
do anything.
right.
And 8-foot fences tend, if you build them of anything other than chain link, they tend to be bulkier because the increased wind load on the fence. And of course, it's now out of line with any adjacent fencing on the residential property to the south.
Okay.
So, you know, the Public Storage put up what was required in the late 90s,
Right, okay.
you know.
All right, well, I appreciate you having a conversation with planning. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to them.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Anyone else? Julianne?
If I understood you correctly, you said that whoever buys the houses, so your client is just building them and then they're going to be sold?
He's
He's
going
not going to
to,
be the
that's not his
the landlord?
intention, you know, he's going to build them.
Okay.
Originally, he was looking to build a commercial building on the site for his business, but the feedback we got from planning was that residential use as a two-family was preferable to another commercial or industrial building. So he changed his plans and is looking for another property to put up a building for his business.
And then for clarification, that other lot that Matt just showed up kind of quickly to the north of this, that is owned by Public Storage?
Yeah, it's part of
not
Public
a part
Storage.
of this?
It's,
Okay.
it's actually land bank parking.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Julianne. Anyone else? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board?
Nobody
Obviously
snuck in?
Not, but in the event your client wanted to get up and undo whatever you've said? No, I'm only kidding.
I think he's good.
No, he's good. We're fine. Matt, where are we with the reviews?
We have an outstanding couple of revisions from May 4th, minor revisions that needed planning and engineering. And this is obviously changes that will require referral to the town board. So for now, planning staff recommends extending the record to June 26th.
To June 26th. Okay, we need a motion to extend the record. Frank, will you make that motion? Okay, second by Dan. Second. All in favor? Aye. Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Yes, okay, that is our only public hearing. So we're going to close the live stream and go into our